Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another Range Rover Sport instrument cluster here. These are very common as the LR3 is having issues with instrument cluster, which it could give you a lot of problems. I mean, no start, sometimes it goes on and off. And the reason of the no start is because this instrument cluster is also part of a kind of like a gateway. So when this one goes down, it takes a whole lot of other modules down. Dominic from Virginia, this is your instrument cluster. Again, it's a 2008 Range Rover Sport Supercharged. All right, got everything ready to go to do the tests as I normally do. I have it connected and the scanner ready to go. The cluster is not powered on yet. So let me take you over to the folder that I created for Dominic. Very short information because I spoke to him. He actually personally dropped the cluster here. So I had the as you see, it says I am outside, and he sent me the VIN number, which we will see when we connect to the cluster, because since I only have the cluster, I will be able to read it when I enter it, not as establishing communication. So the last digits will be 149126. That's all we have here. Again, it also tell me if he hits the dashboard, the cluster sometimes will come on. All right, so for those that wants to see the connections, I have them opening here. This is what I need for this to talk in the bench, because most of the signals are coming as a message on the CAN bus. Again, on these clusters, I'm going to zoom in a little more. Let me get a thing so we can see here, or you can see where I am. So I'm going to use this as a mouse. So we have powers on these two wires going to pin 15 and 16. This uses one connector with 32 pins. So pin 15 is a ignition. Pin 16 is a battery power, constant battery power, and then 2 grounds in pin 31 and 32. Communications, we have the ones that I'm using for the scanner are happening in connector pin 1 and 2, high speed CAN, high in 1, and low in pin 2. But if we see down, there is also a middle speed CAN bus in here, which goes over to the central junction box. This will send it over to some other things, and it's partially what we see is just a partial of everything that is connected in here, but we got the head unit, the climate control. So you can understand that if this one goes down, then now the rest on the CAN high will not be able to talk. Or if the CAN high goes up, or sorry, down, then the middle speed cannot talk. You see what I mean? So it is very important module. So this is pretty much what I need for the test of this component. I also have to show you here in the folder, if you want to see how this cluster looks. This is a picture of the cluster, which a lot of information in there that I put, values that I take my values. This is not nobody else's information. This is my information. So this is for you to see. In this side of the board where the needles are and everything, this is completely obviously taken apart. We got the access to the connector. I usually start that way. I put a conformal coding remover on the other side because I need to work on the memories and the microprocessor to resolder them. And then I put that remover, I'll let that set for whatever time I take to solder all the resistors that you see here, because I go all around and then recheck the connections and replace diodes. Resistors, I checked. If they're good, they're, they can last forever. All right, the other side of the board, if you want to see as well, let me actually open it up, is here. Which again, I have marked, with the tachometer, temperature field, so I can see myself where that is. So the microprocessor is this component here. So this is, very important component. And as you see, it's covered with like a paste that needs to be removed. And I work all the way around. I replace voltage regulator, capacitors, diodes, and again, check all the other components, my secret sauce to repair this. All right, so let me do the test, right? So that's just so much as information I want to share now. All right, so we got that in there. Let me put the scanner in your view and let me power up. So yeah, as you can see from there, really good. All right, so I'm powering up the cluster and nothing happened. So it's not much to really do for. I want to move you over to these views so you can see that all my 3 switches are on and I have the power on because the scanner is on. So this cluster is completely dead. I'm glad that, I recorded this because I want to show you that. So let's try to duplicate his approach of diagnostics, which is valid. So, oh, so So Dominic and guys, you can see definitely that it is 100%, and it's not the connector because I didn't move the connector. I hit this. So this is definitely really the solder. I'm going to keep it in there just so we have 158, 338, no, 336 miles. But yeah, definitely. I am glad that I did this because, wow, it was dead. It came back to life. So we're reproducing Dominic's concerns, no doubt. Is it the cluster the problem? 100% right. But now let's gather the data. So I'm going to the IPC, instrument panel cluster. And this is definitely going to communicate now. We're going to go into version information. And I'm going to take a picture of that because that's where the bin number is. The total distance, I can care less because I don't know why it's in these scanners never matches anything. Sometimes it shows like a 1 million. This one says 254,764, which nothing to do with that. It could be the dust kilometers, but 158. Let me actually make a conversion of that. I'm curious because this one, it might match. So we have 158, 336 miles, 2 kilometers. So that should be 254,818. So it's close, but it's not exactly because we have 158, 336, and that is exactly conversion 254,817. So again, you see this, I can take that with a grain of salt. But at least I got the information. The odometer value 294. You see, it says total distance, and so this is completely gibberish. But let me just double check with the VIN number that he sent me because I don't have that image open. So the last digit should be A as an apple 149126. A as an apple 149126. So yep, the VIN is reading properly, which is good. Now, since we have it talking, I'm going to actuation tests. Let me see what is going on here. You see this actuation test. Okay, low line instrument cluster, high line instrument cluster. I think this is the low line, which I don't think it really matters much for what I'm doing in here. But all I really want is to do the test on the gauges to make sure they are moving properly. It's not a common situation that those get damaged. They're actually, those stepper motors, I have replaced probably 2 out of all the clusters I have repaired. They're like really good, and they're also really expensive. That's what in a normal repair, which is a very fraction of the cost in the time consuming to doing a repair like this. Okay, you see it's dying now. So it just died on me. Let me hit it again. No. And I'm going to show you, see, it's not coming back to life. I'm moving, wiggling the connector really hard, and it's nothing to do with the connector. So it just died on me completely. So in this case, I'm going to have to do the repairs and do the test. Hopefully there is no motors bad. He didn't tell me anything about any gauges having any problems. I would have liked to do the test, but as you see, it died. So let me fix it and I'll be right back, guys. All right, just to give you and Dominic an update, I already got it open completely apart. I already did the other side, and now I'm working onto this side of the board. Everything looking good. It looked like nobody was here before me, so hopefully we had a good result. I told Dominic that as long as nobody has put their hands on it in a temper repair, which is very intricate. Some people see you working and think that they have the same skills or tools, and then when they try to do that, it burns the microprocessor, and there's nothing I can do. It's garbage. So I am actually working in a tool to try to recover information even from a damaged microprocessor. So I'm always trying to, if I'm doing this, to get the best possible results for the customer, especially because if this goes bad and the information that is inside there cannot be recovered, you either will have to buy a computer, a BCM, a key, and a closet from another car, and then put it on. And how much is that going to cost you? And then now you have a bin number from another car. With the whole system together, I can change the bin, but that also is going to add up. So it's probably going to be more expensive than buying another car of this for the year model. So that's what I'm working on to see if I can reduce that and be able to get that information. And I will keep you posted if I'm able to get something like that. And then even if somebody else damaged a cluster, I might be able to help you. And it's coming soon. I will show you also tools that I've been getting newer for the lab, and probably in another video. All right, guys, let me keep going in here. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I finished the repairs. Let's do the test now again with the cluster now fully repaired. So let me move you over here, and let's put the scanner on the screen. Let me power this up. You can see how now immediately comes on, which is definitely a good sign. I'm going to smack on it, so because that was a test. Right, but it is definitely, I mean, it was so many desolder components. This is actually the reason it happens a lot on these ones is most of the components what they sold, they don't put that base around, even though you can see the microprocessor and some of the other memories they had it, but it just is time and vibration. And these are cars that get abused as far as, you know, power and sometimes off-road, that it creates these issues. The cluster, as you can see now, is looking like brand new. I cleaned everything, reset the needles, and everything is working 100%, but I have to do it on the video for you and for him, right? All right, so let me connect. All right, so we're going to enter the instrument panel cluster. Let's read the version to make sure that we can see that it is the same B number and everything. So we got the same A as an apple, 149126, and the same gibberish of mileage information because that doesn't really belong to the car. This is active network configuration number. Well, that's actually not a year. I thought that was a year, but no. All right, so let's go into the active tests. Oh, didn't ask me about low. Let me see. Actuation tests. Yeah, this time it's not asking me about low line or high line, right? So maybe because it was already selected before. I guess so. You haven't even updated, but you can see I'm in a completely different. Yeah, I finally update the team viewer portion that you are seeing. So I'm going to go in order over to the gauges. So we got the tachometer, fuel, coolant temperature, fuel gauge, and then the speedometer on the right side. We have, you know, same mileage, 158,336. That obviously should never change. All right, so let's start with the tachometer. With the top done, I cannot get 50%. It's like a 51 something percent, which is a weird, and I cannot go to 100 because it goes beyond 100. So 51% we start, and we can see the needle just a little over 4,000, which 51% that should be. If I go higher than that, I can go over to the maximum is 89.2.5, because if I go past that, you see it says 102. There is no 102%. Unless this will be, I don't know, like, it doesn't matter what it is. If you have a 20 reading, then the 20 is 100%. You see what I mean? So there is no 102. So I cannot go to 102 because I will create an issue because it does not exist. So let's do the 89.25. Should be around, oh, I have not clicked the start. Sorry, user, it should be just a little over 7,000. I've done so many of these ones that I already know those ones. Let's click exit, and that should return normal, and it does. The coolant temperature is already at the maximum because the coolant temperature sensor is not connected. So this cluster will go onto that reading unless it receives the message. All right, so we're going to 0. I actually put 5%, but that's fine. So let's go over to 50%. And all I really want to show you here, because I already set the needles up, is that they're moving and we're not losing communication. I did this behind doors, behind curtains, let's say, to save time on the video, right? Although I have to redo it, but all right, so if we start that, we can see the temperature at middle of the gauge, which is perfect. And I click exit, and that comes back. All right, let's do the fuel gauge now. It's already in 0, so let's go to 50%. I don't know why the tachometer is the only one that gives that weird gibberish numbers. All right, so we start, and we're in 50%. Let's go over to full, which should be 100%, right? And we can see how is the needle, again, on the center right, going there. And this one I have to come back to 0 before I release it. Sometimes the software glitches and it stays in there. So let's bring it down to 0 and then we can exit. All right, so last, the speedometer, 50%, which should be 12 o'clock, just a little over 70 miles an hour. Went too much. Start. And yep, we have exactly at 12 o'clock. That's 50% of the gauge. Let's go to the 100%. Start. Perfect. And then we exit, and that should go back to there. And we are in business. I like it when everything goes smooth. Yeah, nobody was here before, which is great. Dominic, thank you so much for trusting Mike Salazar Diagnostics. If you guys are here and you have any instrument cluster, automotive or marine, ECMs or so, I'm here to help you. I can definitely help you. As you can see, I have all the tools necessary and the skills and the knowledge to do it. Let me just show you my website briefly so you know where to go in case you need to send anything for repairs. This is my website. So when you get, this is the home page. So I have multiple pages, but this is the landing page. If you look for Mike Salazar Diagnostics, if you're in the middle right here on the screen, you see the big letters that says my name in there and Diagnostics. So that's how Mike sounds, is the way it's spelled and written in my birth certificate from Costa Rica. And I kept it in here. I never changed my name. So that's MikeSalazarDiagnostics.com. And then under that, the white box that says click here, fill this form to send a module. If you click in there, that will download a Word document that you can print, fill, sign, and add in the box with the module or modules. Please contact me first, like that. If I need anything from you as far as testing before you send the component, we can get that done before you send a component and it's already late and I needed something else. So at the top left of the website right now, you have my email and my telephone address in there if you want to grab it right now and if you need something for repairs. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.